The awakening experience isn't always so one-sided as rainbows and butterflies, that with it can come other aspects, which is what we might call the apparent destruction of your personhood in your everyday life. Because what happens in the awakening experience is that you recognize your whole life was dictated by this person you imagine yourself to be, which we'll call the ego. And this ego character being the source of what you'll just call your human problems. And then you see through that character, and that character in a way doesn't make any sense anymore. And so we don't really know how to function in our everyday life. And so it can come with both sides of this. An immensity of love and an immensity of confusion. And then it's common that after this experience of awakening, our life kind of presses pause. But I want to say something about if awakening isn't the end, then what is it? If it's not the real prize or the final prize or the conclusion, then what is it? And what I want to present as an opportunity is that awakening is simply an opening of a door into a new way of living. And another way of saying this is that it begins a deeper listening. Because as you have this experience and you peek beyond the veil, the illusion, beyond what it is that you see in the connection of all things, this love that is seen is more like a love that is heard in the heart. And this is very difficult, if impossible, to ever forget. And it's not so much a mind thing. The mind tries to make sense of it, but it's very much a heart thing. And so that's what I want us to kind of consider the possibility of. That our experiences of awakening, whether there's one or multiple, they're not an endpoint. It's a new beginning. It's an open door for a deeper depth of listening, and there's a lot more to come. It's often referred to in spiritual circles that the ego dies. And I'm not one to argue with that because it's just silly words and it's a way of pointing. And as a way of pointing, I can understand why that illustration works. Because in many ways, it feels like the ego dies. It can feel like a part of you dies. You know what it's like? It's like knowing yourself as a particular person, and then you see that that person is just an illusion. It's not real. And so you're left in this vast emptiness of the unknown. You don't know yourself anymore. And so it feels like a part of you died. And so as you can see, this expression of ego death, it's not a literal thing, it's a pointer. Because the ego is just imaginary. What is imaginary cannot die. I would say even more accurately, or as a different way of pointing, the ego doesn't die, the ego gets exposed. You start to see its imaginary nature. You start to see that who you think you are is just a story that you've collected, and it doesn't exist in reality at all. And furthermore, it doesn't really have anything to give you. You know what a good illustration of this is? Playfully? It's like you're stressed out playing a board game. You got all these pieces to win. There's all these obstacles that are in your way. And then you have this moment of realization that the piece you're playing with doesn't matter at all. Do you get that visual? Just that moment of, oh, wait, what am I doing? Right? This little piece on the board is running around all frantic, afraid of not collecting all the points, afraid of not winning, afraid of what all the other players are doing. And then you wake up from that game and you see that this piece that you are isn't you at all. Why am I so concerned about it? Why am I stressed out? Why am I freaking out? Because this piece is afraid of losing something that it thinks is important, but this piece isn't you at all. There's a Christian form of terminology that I think is aptly appropriate, and that is to be born again. And maybe I should preface this by saying that in the most amazing way to me, the more I investigate the nature of spirituality in all the ways it is accessed throughout all of the different traditions, and then to have a fair grasp of real spiritual awakening, it's astounding how much all of these spiritual paths are pointing to the same experience. And so in the spirit of that, I would say that to be born again is a similar revelation. It's almost like recognizing, I guess, from a Christian tradition, that there's something far more important than what we'll call your worldly endeavors. And so your heart turns around and finds a new devotion, a higher devotion, something not of this world. And so your life takes on a new meaning. It takes on a new life. And so you were born again.